Okay, so the most common obstacles around money are a lack of direction for an individual, lack of motivation. We call frittering money away, so literally just wasting money. It might be on clothes, food, whatever it is. Out of control debt, so people obviously taking on credit cards, GE, all that type of stuff. Good intentions are not good enough. Feel good spending, so if you have a bad day, girls, you go to the shops and buy clothes, and guys the same. So controlling that kind of stuff. Not having a plan, so literally money comes in, money goes out. There's no real plan. Am I saving money? All that kind of stuff. Might be that your partner has different values or views to what you do. Earning more money is not actually the way to get ahead. It doesn't matter what sort of income you earn, you can always get ahead. And no money for a rainy day. So not putting money aside for anything that comes up in the future. So just touching on goal setting, I suppose, who here has a goal or an upcoming life event? Most people do. So you've got to ask yourself what that goal is. It might be, am I starting my first job? Am I getting my first contract? Am I wanting to buy my first home? All little things that add up. The other thing is recognise those goals to create a plan. So if one of your goals is in 5-10 years time to buy a house, go, okay, I want to buy a house in 10 years time. I need this much to buy. I'm going to put away this much of my income per month or per week. So it's obviously setting a plan in line with that goal. And break them into short, medium and long term. So I always say to people, if a short-term goal is between now and 12 months to buy your first car, make that happen. Save some money, buy your first car. Long-term plan, 3 years plus, probably buy a house. Every New Zealander wants to buy a home, and once you have a home, you kind of get on that bug and you want to buy another one. So just set those goals out. So I suppose just moving on, money management or budgeting. Now this is in New Zealand, it's a really bad stat. Not many people actually write out a budget for themselves. The things you want to sort of work out are, have you ever got enough money? In terms of, is your income coming in and are you able to save money? Or do you live payday to payday? Or do you spend more than you earn? There's easy measures on these type of things. The first one is, like I said, can you save money each week or each month or fortnight? And are you using credit cards or taking out personal loans or anything like that to supplement your lifestyle? So it's an easy measure to do. You can just look at what your income is and then what your expenses are. Then we sort of break things down to 3 categories. First category is fixed expenses. So these expenses cannot change. So it might be rent, might be a mortgage, it might be debt that you're paying off. You can't change these things. So that's your fixed expenses. But what you can change is the next 2 things. So flexible expenses are controlled amounts. So for instance, you see a mobile phone up there, you can actually change your plan, you can go on prepay, you could not spend as much, so you can adjust that amount that you're paying per month, and even groceries. So we always say to clients or people, go shop or write a list out of what you want from the supermarket and do it once a week. Supermarkets is designed for you to go back 3 or 4 times, and when you're there, I don't know if you've ever read these articles, but the aisles are set up so you're actually going to buy more than what you need. So it's all that kind of stuff. And then discretionary spending. These are in your life by choice. So, 2 main things, Sky, coffee, lunch, eating out, all that kind of stuff. These can be taken out of your life to decrease your expenses. So that's just a rough idea on budgeting. The next one, what I always say to people is, imagine if you got paid in cash. Obviously, a long, long time ago, people got paid in cash. Now it's all obviously direct credit and all that kind of stuff. But imagine if you got paid in cash and you had 5 buckets, and each bucket represented a different kind of bill. So you would have an everyday account, which is literally what you spend out per week or every day. It might be buying groceries, putting petrol in your car, stuff like that. You'll have a bills bucket, a flexible expense bucket, an emergency bucket, and a goals bucket. So if you got paid in cash and put money in each of those accounts or buckets per payday, and you forecasted for your expenses, you're actually not going to go into any debt. So you think of your buckets, and if you set up your bank accounts that way, it works. Next thing is debt. There's 2 types of debt. There's good debt and bad debt. Good debt is buying a house, because especially in Auckland, your asset's going to increase every year, and it's normally on 10%, but as you've seen in the market, it's going crazy. And then also student loan. That's obviously increasing your ability to earn money over time. So we call those 2 good debts. The bad debts are your credit cards or store cards, personal loans or car finance. Buying a car on finance is not good. It's a depreciating value. It's never going to go up like a house. So you've got good debt and bad debt. It's just good to recognise those things. Good debt, obviously, like we said, mortgages. At some stage in your life, you're wanting to buy a house. Once you have that home, normally at some other stage you want to buy another property if you can. So you've got buying your first home, investing in a property, and then long term you want to pay it off. You don't want to have debt over your head for forever. And I know in your guys' situation, if you're sort of moving into a professional rugby career, your income's going to be a lot higher for a short amount of time than most people in their working life. So you've got to make sure that you use that wisely. And me and Shane work together with his clients that are on big money to get them into property, and once they've got one, get another one, so you're not wasting money. Just to give you a real quick example how a mortgage works, is that if you had a $390,000 mortgage and it was at 6.5% interest rate, now that's quite high at the moment, but just on average, 6.5%, your monthly repayment is going to be $2,400. Now, Goran, if you took a mortgage out at $400K now, what would you expect long term to have paid off on that? How much would it cost you?
Twice as much?
Yep, so normally a mortgage at $400K, once it's paid off, is going to cost you $800,000. So it's about getting into that debt as fast as possible because it's dead money. So if we look at the total interest paid on this one, is going to be $887K on that original loan amount. So there's a couple of smart things you do. You change your repayments from monthly to fortnightly and put a coffee a day towards the mortgage, so $5, right? And what that does is shows you huge savings. It literally will take 9 years off the mortgage and save you almost 170 grand. So when I say to people, hey, if I gave you 170K up front, would you take it? Most people are going to say yeah. So why wouldn't you do that when you eventually get a mortgage? So just being smart. Bad debt, which is really obviously common in New Zealand. The average interest rate is 17.5%. This is GE money, this is credit cards, all that kind of stuff. If you have a credit card and you go to a hole in the wall, so you go to an ATM and you want to take out money off that, automatically that interest rate goes to about 30%. People don't realise that. So straight away, whatever you had on your credit card balance, if you had $1,000 owing and you're only paying 17%, you take money out, the whole thing clicks over to 30%. So don't take money off your credit card is pretty much what I'm saying. And obviously the average interest per year on a credit card is $1,200. It's just dead money. So why use it when you could budget correctly earlier? Risk management. So I suppose this is all about personal insurances and obviously house contents and cars. I sort of analyse it in a way where you guys, if you're driving a car, there's a green light coming up, you're ready to go. You can go through it. If it's an orange light, you're going to look to slow down and probably stop. And if it's a red light, you stop. So risk management is always looking for that red light in case something happens. So my question is, what is your biggest asset? Does anyone know what their biggest asset is in life? Goran, what would you say your biggest asset is? Yep. So what Goran means by that is his biggest asset in life is his ability to earn money. He drives income. If he can't work, how do you pay your mortgage or your rent? How do you put food on the table? All that kind of stuff. So what you're going to make sure is that you insure yourself correctly moving forward. Now I know it's a bit different for rugby boys because your income and protecting it's a little bit different, but just in general, your biggest asset is you. Just a quick stat up here. 1 in 5 men and 1 in 7 women between the age of 30 and 64 will suffer from a critical illness at some stage of their life. Cancers, heart attacks, strokes, all that kind of stuff. So it's a really high hit rate where potentially at some stage of your life you're going to suffer from a critical illness. So making sure you have the right insurance to cover that kind of stuff. The other type of insurance is obviously your house contents and motor vehicle. A lot of people drive around without motor vehicle insurance. And Goran, what's your sort of explanation with vehicle insurance?
It's just like protecting everything else, really. You don't only want to protect yourself in case of something happening, you also want to be covered for
Yeah.
the third party or
Yeah.
third party property insurance.
Yeah, exactly. So if you guys are driving down the road and you crash into a Ferrari or whatever it is, and you have no insurance, you're up for that whole lot. And at the time, if you have some asset like a property, they'll have a go at that too. So just making sure you've got everything covered. I'll put up there ACC. A lot of people think ACC is going to cover you if you get ill, so a sickness. It doesn't. It covers accidents, and it will cover 80% of your income. So just make sure that when that time comes, you protect yourself correctly. Just quickly on retirement planning, just to give you some idea, the average New Zealander retires on 20 grand a year. I don't know how people live on that. But on average, a couple need $80,000 per year to live off when they retire. So if they live for 10 years, from 65 to 75, if they retire then, they're going to need $800,000 in some way to live. So if we break it down, we talk about diversification. It's a big word, but it literally is this. Making sure that when you retire, you have money in a property, you've got cash in the bank, equities and fixed interest, you've got KiwiSaver, you've got shares or some type. Just making sure that your whole portfolio is diversified so you're not in 100% weighted into one amount. And 800 grand sounds like a lot, but obviously when you put it over that 10-year period, 80 grand a year is not a lot to live off in this day and age. KiwiSaver. Now, I don't know if you boys are into KiwiSaver yet, but this is literally a godsend. It's pre-tax dollars. It's compulsory savings for your retirement or for your first home now. Just an example up there, if you can see it. An employee earning $45,000 today over the next 40 years, if their KiwiSaver returns 3%, they're going to get 428 grand at retirement. But if you have it in the right fund and it returns 8% on average over that 40 years, you can see the difference. It's 1.4 mil. So again, if you're on KiwiSaver, get some advice on it. Make sure that at your stage of life you're invested correctly, because if it's left just to sit there, you can see the difference in the returns is huge. So key things are out in that. Just quickly, we talk about the multiplier effect. So this is areas that you can cut costs, I suppose, in your daily life, like bank fees. People get charged for bank fees like $10 a month. They don't know they're getting charged for. Cutting that kind of stuff out. Product providers, you don't have to be loyal to mobile like a Vodafone or a Telecom. You can switch them. You don't have to be loyal to a bank anymore. Electricity company, vehicle insurance. You can sort of chop and change to make sure that you're getting the best value for money in the market, because I assure you all these big companies make a lot of money off you. Avoid interest free. Unfortunately, you have Noel Leeming, all these places say, hey, it's interest free for 12 months or whatever. They actually build in the interest over the cost of the product. So you're actually getting screwed. You just got to be careful what you're taking on. Again, I put up there, shop once. Just go to the supermarket and write a list. Shop once a week. You'll save a lot of money that way. Review your insurance. Fuel docs, if you collect them, you can save money and pay for up front. I don't know if you guys pay for gym memberships, but there's always interest added in for stuff like that. So if you can afford it, pay for the whole year up front and you get a discount. Again, just touching as we finish, just creating a plan. So I don't know if you guys have ever held an egg correctly upright like that, but if you apply pressure from both sides, or top and bottom, sorry, the egg won't crack. So the foundations are key for you guys. To have the foundations in place upright when you start, you're young now, so if you make mistakes along the way and your foundations are correct, they're going to be less hurtful long term. And because you guys are in rugby, I mean, plans are all about strategies and structures. As you guys know, these guys are probably one of the best sporting teams in the world. They have the best coaches, managers, nutritionists, sports psychologists, everything from top to bottom. So if you create the right plan and the structures and strategies to go with that, you're going to be fine long term.